Hello, good evening, Hundredfold. This is Doug and Rashi, part of the leadership team from the Hundredfold Journey. The Hundredfold Journey is about a group of people who are looking to find their true identity, and by doing so, finding God's true identity. So welcome to Hundredfold Wednesday Night Live, and this is your opportunity to meet the leadership team of a Hundredfold. We do have a topic to talk about tonight, and it's an extension of what we talked about a couple of weeks ago, which is gratitude. And as you know, we've been on a journey with some challenges, 21 days of gratitude, 21 days of identity. Then we started our 31 days of happiness this month of January. And oh, by the way, next month we're going to do 28 days of love, and it will be a love challenge. So looking forward to doing that. But again, tonight we're going to be talking again about gratitude. And I thought it would be good for us to continue that discussion because it really is foundational for who we are at a Hundredfold. And really for me personally, on my journey, when it started, it did start with gratitude. That's where it started for me. And I've got some examples that I'll share with you guys. But so that's the reason why we want to focus on it. Now, at the end of our half hour or so session, we will open it up for questions. So whoever is online, feel free to ask questions. And so we'll spend some time doing that as well. So I'm going to go first. And what I wanted to start with was my journey. And there was a book that I had read. This was going back to 2013. And it's called The Magic by Rhonda Byrne. And she is the one that wrote The Secret. And I actually watched The Secret, and being a Christian, it kind of like, well, what's this universe and what's this cosmic energy and all of that? And I was a little hesitant, I'll use the word. But then I started reading this book, and it really opened my eyes to what gratitude was about, what appreciation was about. And I actually have some dates. I read this 13 different times, and you can see the dates in the book over to the right. And you can see I started on July 7th, 2013. So that was, what, seven years ago?
Almost 8 years.
And I started my gratitude challenge, and what really started me here were, this book told us about the 10 blessings, count your blessings. And that was a habit that I also incorporated into the 21 days of gratitude as well as identity. Because when we write down what we're grateful for, then we will find things to be grateful for, and we'll also attract things to be grateful for. And that was kind of the message of The Secret a little bit, was that like attracts like. And if I'm on a gratitude, appreciation, love attitude, then my eyes will be open to see things to be more grateful, appreciative about. And that's exactly what happened in my life. Is the reason I started that journey was because it's not that I wasn't happy. I mean, I was, but in my religion, in the beliefs that I had about who God was, that he was an angry God, and that I needed to confess my sins, and I had to check off all the boxes. I had to go to church and read my Bible and pray and repent and all of that. My religion really bogged me down, and that caused me to not be as happy as I could have been. Hence the reason why I was kind of searching for other things that were out there, and I was open for it, right? And in fact, if you go to our website, there's the origin story in there, and then there's a video on my description of that roller coaster ride that I was on. So if you go to our website and you go to origin story, you'll see that video. And I think it describes my life and the reason why I started down the path that I'm on. The other thing I'd like to show you is a spiral notebook, and this is one that I used, and the dates here are from 7/13 to 5/15, which is 2013 to 2015. And basically, every day in here, it's kind of hard to see with the glare, but anyways, every day there's 10 count your blessings every single day. So I show you that not to say, hey, Doug, whoa, that's amazing. I show that to you to show you that you got to be diligent. It's you can't just change in a day or two or a week. In fact, what we're discovering is it's 63 days to develop a new habit. So the 21 days we talk about, really that should be done 3 different times to get a total of 63 days. So what I was doing with this journal and reading the book was starting a new path for me. In fact, Joe Dispenza talks about the amount of thoughts that we have on any given day. It's usually between 70 to 90,000 thoughts that we have a day. But 90% of those are the same thoughts that I had yesterday and the day before and the week and a month and a year. And really what that does is it develops a habit. So all of a sudden I'm on autopilot. So I'm thinking those same thoughts. And that's what I was thinking back before 2013. God's an angry God. I have to do all these things. And those were the thoughts that were constantly through my mind. And I had to renew those and I had to change those. So I had to change those 90 to 90,000 thoughts. Maybe that number is not right now that I think about it. Sorry. I think it's 60 to 70,000. But anyways, I had to renew my mind and put new thoughts in there. And this book and the journal helped me to do that, because all of a sudden my eyes were thinking about what I was grateful for. So that was the ability to renew my mind. And then it opened up for me to see what I was grateful for in my life. And I was looking at my very first journal entry, and I thought it was pretty cool. So I'd like to share this with you. So this is July 7th, 2013. And what's weird about that is July 7th is my mother-in-law's birthday. So I don't know the connection there, but so my 10 blessings at that time, a marriage lasting 30 years. So in July 2013, my marriage was 30 years. So now you can add 37 years because it's brought stability in my life and a foundation for our kids. And then number 2, a job for every one of those years, because it's brought stability in my life and the money needed to be comfortable and not worry. Then number 3 was my health, because I have a good heart and I can do all the things that I want without limitations. And then I mentioned my wife's name because she's the perfect balance for me. She is everything I am not, and I am what she is not. So we complement each other perfectly. My son, my older son, he was a miracle child because my wife was having difficulty having kids. So just thanking God for granting us with him. And then our second son was adopted, and just thanking him that he was a gift to us, and he's very talented. And then my daughter, and she was also kind of born under difficult circumstances, but I put down because she's my girl, and she is so loving and caring. And then I said thanks for my mom, my in-laws, and then I did say my church because it has taught me about faith, love, trust, friendship, and giving ourselves as a sacrifice to other people. So anyways, that was way back when. So it's kind of cool. I can go through here and look at all these things that I was grateful for. So if you add up all of these, I mean, we're talking thousands of things to be grateful for. And all that can really do over that period of time is renew my mind. So I'm no longer thinking the negative thoughts. And I'll just say it the way it is. I do find it easier to capture that thought. And we've talked about that, capturing every thought, the negative thoughts that come, you grab it and you say, no, it's not going to come in, and you let it go. And then you replace that with a thought of gratitude. So that's been my journey. And I'd really like to encourage those to to do that. In fact, speaking of that, sharing my screen, I did want to share this real quick, and hopefully you guys can see my screen. On the 100foldjourney.com, in here are challenges, and in here you'll see the 21 days of gratitude and the 21 days of identity. And in here, you can just click right here and it will start the video. You can click on YouTube and it'll launch into YouTube. And it's the intro for day one, introduction and day one. And then here's the free gratitude ebook. And you just click on that and you can see here's day one, count your blessings. So everything is right here on our website. And we even have count your blessings, a little worksheet. Instead of using my handy dandy spiral wrap, you can print these out and use them. And there's actually 21 of these here that you can print out and use as you need them. So these are all the resources available to you from our website. The final thing that really impacted me was the day two, which is the prayer rock or the prayer reminder. So I always say, you wake up with gratitude and you go to sleep with gratitude. And when you have those bookends, starting your day and ending your day, everything in between just gets that much better. So I still do these every day, and it just reminds me of, what I'm grateful for, what I'm thankful for, and it just keeps me in that state of being grateful. So there's my spiel. Rashi or anybody online, did you have any questions regarding that?
Yeah, Doug, so was July 7, 2013 the very first time that you started this
Yes.
gratitude challenge for yourself?
Yes.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, so I bought the book. I bought this book after I watched the video, and then magically, I'll use because this is the book called The Magic. Magically, this book came up, and it's like, oh, why don't I buy that? So Amazon.com, got it, and then I started reading. It's like, oh wait, they're asking me to count my blessings. So yes, that was the very first time. I had not done anything like that ever. I did write down prayer requests. So throughout my life, I did write down prayer requests. Um, praying for my mom or my sister or whatever, but it was never in a state of gratefulness, being appreciative of things that you have, not only that you have now, but also future. Hey, thank you for my future raise or whatever.
Yes.
That is also part of this as well.
Yes, I was actually going off of that. I think it's day 12 that we do in Gratitude Challenge, which I felt was very, very powerful for myself, because I'd never thought of it that way, because day 12 requires us to go through and kind of visualize what we want for our future and thank God for these things that we
Yes.
have, and feel that we already have them.
Mhm.
So that was because I've never done that before. I had to really kind of think and be specific. And when I did that, I felt, wow, I can actually create that reality for myself, that I don't have to just sit around and wait, or or think of it from like a very like a weak sort of perspective. Like I can
Yeah, passive. It's
passive
more right.
perspective.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, I thought that was very powerful. And then just kind of going off of what you said, as far as the notebook, and you have thousands of blessings written,
Yep.
being diligent about it. What I've felt since I've pretty recently did the gratitude challenge myself and thoroughly did it,
Mhm.
I noticed that in the beginning it was kind of like, I think I've spoken to you about this, how it was almost like an obligation.
Yeah, right.
In the beginning I was like, first day, like, okay, number one, what do I, number two, and it was almost forceful. But now it after that, it just kind of flew, it was flowing out within maybe by the third day, fourth day. It was coming genuinely from my heart, that I was very thankful for my basic amenities that are met, basic necessities that I have, and, just my loved ones. And, things could be very different, if they wanted to be, but Again, being grateful and having that attitude of gratitude is very powerful and amazing.
Yeah, and I think what's really helpful with the book um, is that it gives you ideas to think about. Because you're right, in the beginning you start, okay, well, thank you for my job, thank you for my wife or my spouse and my kids. Those are all pretty easy, bam, 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 bam. You get those, and then you get to 7, 8, 9, 10 is like, okay, and then you got to really think about it. So the book is helpful because you start thinking about things that you normally wouldn't,
Right.
because you take them for granted.
Yes.
And that's actually, in fact, that's what's so important about gratitude, is that we don't take things for granted anymore, because you
Right.
can't, because we are truly blessed, and we forget how blessed we are.
Yes.
And then it just becomes, yeah, so I have hot water. You just turn a dial and it's hot water.
Right.
Hey, you know what? That takes a lot of work to get that hot water there, right?
It really does.
Or the grocery store. So there's so many other things to be thankful for. And then it just opens your eyes, and then all of a sudden you start seeing those blessings, and then you count yourself as being blessed,
Yes.
and then you thank God for those blessings, and it just flows so easily and naturally. Yeah.
Yes. And it almost every day thanking God for these things,
Hmm.
it strengthens that connection with him, because
Yes.
seeing the things that you've been provided with
Yes.
without you asking necessarily, maybe you subconsciously for certain things you're asking, but for the most part, you just see the amazing creation,
Hmm.
that God has created within us and then around us, and you're
Yep.
able to be present. I think the other thing gratitude has done for me is really made me present in the
Yes.
moment, because then I'm picking things that are actually around me and or present in my life,
Hmm.
that are the most important, essentially, because without these things, then again, I'm not functioning, or I'm not having the kind of lifestyle that I have,
Right.
essentially.
Now,
Right.
that's a really good point, because Eckhart Tolle talks about the power of now, and
Yes.
living in the moment. And that's so true, because you know yesterday is gone.
Right.
Tomorrow is unknown.
Right.
All we really have is now. So
Yeah.
now, what do we choose to be in that moment, in now? um, do we choose to be grateful, or be in victimhood, or fear, or worry? Um, so yeah, that exactly. So gratitude brings you into the now, because your eyes have to be open. Oh wow, thank you for this coffee. That's amazing.
Right.
You're living that moment right now.
Right.
So very good, very good.
Excellent.
What else, Rashi?
Um, Everything is great. Life is good. God is good. Gratitude is fantastic.
Yeah, so I think for you, you'd mentioned the day 12 or something, that yeah,
12, yes.
yeah, that
Um,
was another key one for you.
yeah, because I really had to kind of think about what I wanted, because at times you're so convoluted. You kind of look at, I used to, at least I should speak for myself. I always used to tend to see things, as like the kind of the grass is greener on the other side, essentially, right?
Ah,
Like I'm
right.
always looking at other
Yes.
people and seeing what they have. And I'm kind of like, oh, I wish I had that. I wish my kids were,
Mm.
doing this, or just very small, minimal things that now I understand that they don't matter, because I already have the things that I need and that
There
I'm
you go.
working with.
Yes.
And essentially, maybe if I had those other things that I'm kind of wanting or fantasizing about, that maybe they wouldn't have worked out for me the way that they work for other people.
Hmm.
So it kind of eliminated that kind of a perspective, where
Yeah.
I'm like, now I'm looking at myself more, and I'm going within
Yeah.
and not externalizing all these things. I'm not depending on others, and or looking at others for anything really, because
Right.
everything is within me. And again, just strengthening that connection with God, because I've never really had that. I've never thought of it that way until I've met you, and I've joined Bible study with you, and hundredfold, and just kind of understanding that there's a relationship to be maintained and strengthened each
Yeah.
and every day.
That's right.
And and just having that love and support, I mean, that means the world.
Yep.
And the fact that, I can see, and again, it's very interesting because during my meditations, I think I've mentioned this to you before, that my parents, no matter how my relationship is with them, good, bad, ugly, whatever, every time I'm grateful for them for bringing me
Mm,
into this world, it's
mm,
just a different feeling.
right.
Like, especially now, maybe because I'm a mother, I feel that I created two lives,
Hmm.
and I'm responsible for them. Just having that kind of connection, and then through God, through my parents, through myself, through my children, it's like, it's very, very interesting to just
Mm.
feel that, and just, and being that feeling,
Yep.
that it's pretty amazing that we're a life-giving force, right?
There
We're
we
a
go.
life-giving spirit.
That's right.
Uh, that alone is just, it's a big deal. I mean, we always try to limit ourselves into, how we are and how we should be, whether it's because of religion, whether it's because of how we were raised and conditioned to believe. um but just kind of going within and thinking about these things, just these basic things, just, it makes me feel very powerful,
Yep.
and kind of limitless. We're
Yeah,
infinite.
that's right. And we talk about being filled, and
Yes.
just the gratitude fills that cup,
Yes.
so that then you can share that gratitude and appreciation for other people. And I think your parents are a good example of that. And just changing the mindset about your thought and being a mom now. And the book kind of talks about that, right? Is how you were raised, and how do they raise you on money, and whatever the situation is. But you just look at it from a different lens now, and yeah,
Yeah. It's
yeah,
pretty
that's awesome.
fantastic. I used to, when I initially started this whole spiritual journey and got into spirituality and kind of just the connection, the universal consciousness and the connection with others, I kind of came around with this analogy where, I kind of thought of myself as a Wi-Fi router, right? Like
Okay.
Wi-Fi.
Right.
Like if there's a Wi-Fi router, it's connecting to different devices, right? And the stronger the connection, the better, the faster the Wi-Fi will work, and the better it'll work, right, at its full potential. So I thought of myself as that. And what if I'm the Wi-Fi router, and
Mm,
I'm sending out this signal,
I
right?
like that.
And if I have
Yes.
a weak signal, I'm
Yes.
not going to be able to connect with anybody, and I'm not going to resonate with like-minded people and
Yes.
like-minded situations. So uh just thinking of myself that way, the stronger that I am internally, the stronger
Yes.
my connection will be, and the stronger energy that I will kind of output, and
Very
then
good.
kind of bring in the right connection, the right people.
And just add one more element to that, right? So if you look at it as a router, the router is usually connected to a source,
Yes.
that then you're the device that then sends out the signal to
Yes.
these branches, right? But it is how close you are to that source, the power
Yeah.
energy, let's call it
Yes.
God,
Yes.
um, our creator, that then your signal will be that much stronger,
Correct.
right? I think religion looks at it differently. They look at it as, um, you're, you have to be that, not the source, but, be that example. And it's not until, I'm not sure. I'm sorry.
No,
I
you're
messed up
fine.
on my analogy there, but
But I understand what you're saying, because I kind of heard something similar, and you can correct me if I'm not understanding the right way, but religion tends to kind of put a person at the forefront, whereas God is really the main,
yes.
right? Whereas, for example, if there's a priest or a pastor or
Thank you.
we tend to kind of idolize and worship that
Yes.
person, right?
Yes.
Whereas we forget that God is the person that, or
That's right.
the entity that we should be worshiping and
Yep.
following and believing in, rather than that, just that face, that
Hmm.
person,
Yep.
you know?
Yeah, because this is unseen. That power is unseen. We can't see it. We tend to want to see something physical and say, "Oh,
Yeah,
well, I'm going to worship that," or it could be a pastor, or some preacher. It could be money. It could be our job or whatever. But our true source is our heavenly Father.
yes, correct.
Yeah,
Yeah.
very good, Rashi. Thank you for
Yes.
for
Yes.
catching that. That was
Of
good.
course, yes. I recently heard that, and I just love that analogy, because it was it was between spirituality and religion, and
Yep.
they were trying to differentiate that, whereas spirituality doesn't do that. It's going within and connecting with the
Yes.
source.
There you
And
go.
religion puts a face and then the message gets, it's like that game of telephone, right?
Mm,
One person
mm,
passing the message on to the next person, and by the time it gets around,
right.
it's a completely different, more
Yep.
um I don't know, more not polluted, I don't want to say polluted, but it's changed
Right.
essentially by the time it's
In fact, that's a really good topic. One of our Wednesday night sessions, we will have to do one on meditation. And
sure.
I think that example is actually really good, is that when we go meditate, we go within and we silence the mind, and we're basically connecting to that source, right? So we're
That's
not
right.
getting out here, we're getting the direct source. So the telephone analogy, right? You're getting it right, A equals B equals C
Yes.
versus, whatever is going to be translated down the line.
Right, right, absolutely. Fantastic. We should definitely do that.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
All right, very good. Is there anybody else on the line that would have a question for us? All right. Um, I can't think of anything else to share. Again, gratitude is our foundation for hundredfold. Um, it's one of our pillars. In fact, that's one thing I'm working on in Rashi. This is, I want to be able to put together some pillars that are foundational for a hundredfold. And one of them is obviously gratitude. The other one is identity as well. Hence the reason why those are 21 days
Right.
for both of those. But those pillars will be coming out, and we'll probably end up talking. Meditation is definitely one of
Yeah.
those pillars. So these Wednesday night lives will dig into those pillars. So each week we'll take one. Not sure what we'll talk about next week. It could be gratitude, or it could be maybe one of those pillars, but we'll see when we get there.
Yeah, and if I could maybe suggest something, would
Yeah,
maybe forgiveness should be one of them too. Like
yeah,
forgiveness and maybe love, and
mhm,
because I think those are definitely foundational too. It takes a lot. It takes a lot to do those things, to love and love yourself and then love others, accept them for who they are, and
yeah,
again, forgive as well, right? We
yeah,
tend to not forgive ourselves as well as other people. And
yeah. Yeah, and I think, I actually lead a group on Monday night, and you attended, but we did talk about, love, and
yes,
really when we understand how much God loves us,
yes,
and just to tie in the gratitude and to be grateful for that love that he gave us, then that gives us the power to love others and then forgive. Um, but that's where it starts, is when we truly understand it and receive it and accept it for ourselves, that then
yeah,
it gives us the power. So it's filling the cup, right? It's
yep,
filling it up so then it can go out and be that life-giving spirit to other people.
yes. Yes, and I love that. I'm sure Rich can further talk about this at another time, but that water analogy, the cup of water,
Yes.
right,
Yeah.
where the cup of water and what we're filling ourselves with is really what it's going to stay,
Yep.
because that water doesn't necessarily have anywhere to go either, so it's going to stay stagnant.
Mm,
And if it's full of negativity
yeah.
and weak thoughts of weakness and fear and anxiety, then that water is going to stay stagnant and it's going to rot,
Yes.
and to purify that, we really have to send the right energy in to then output that right energy out.
Yeah. And
So
go to that source, right?
go to the source.
Go to the
Yes.
source, which is
Yeah.
pure love, um, joy, forgiveness, all of that.
Yes.
So yeah,
Yeah, it's
excellent.
hard. Sometimes you're really conditioned to not believe these things, or you're not, again, depending on how you've been raised and what experiences you've had. At least for me, it's been really hard to believe that somebody can really be there for me, right? Unconditionally and without anything attached to
Yeah.
it, and
Yeah.
or whatever. Just believing that is the first step. So these things, these elements definitely help, especially meditation, because
Hmm.
you're feeling, that's the only time your mind has the moment to be silent, right?
That's right.
And focus on what is really within.
Hmm.
So yeah, I'm
Yep.
excited for this journey. I'm
Yep.
doing
Good
great.
stuff.
I'm so excited. Hundredfold is just so transformational.
I love it. Very good. Well, Rashi, thanks for jumping on, and for those that are online, thank you for your time. Um, and I'm assuming silence means no questions. So With that said, again, I appreciate your time. If anybody would like to join us online, we're on Facebook, and we're also, I showed you the website, the100foldjourney.com. You can always reach out to us through a post on Facebook or through email on our website. We'd love to hear from you with any questions or comments you might have. So with that said, thanks for joining us, and bye for now.
Bye, guys.